好，各位老师，我们的记者会马上就开始了，请大家检查一下手机是否静音或者是处于震动模式了。谢谢大家。Our press conference will begin shortly, and please check all of your devices are set to silent mode. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, good afternoon. The press conference of the third session of the 14th CPPCC National Committee now begins. On behalf of the session secretariat, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all the journalists participating in today's press conference, both at home and overseas. The spokesperson for today's press conference is Deputy Secretary General of the session, Mr. Liu Jieyi. I am Deputy Secretary General for the CPPCC National Committee and Deputy Secretary General of the session, Hu Honglu. I will host today's press conference. Sitting at the left is DDG of the Information Bureau of the General Office of the CPPCC National Committee, Madam Zhao Haiyan. She will help me to take turns to invite questions from the floor. The press conference today will last about 70 minutes. Now, let's give the floor to Mr. Liu Jieyi. He will first brief us on the overall arrangement of the session, and then take questions on this session and the work of the CPPCC. Mr. Liu Jieyi, the floor is yours.
女士们
Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, good afternoon. A welcome to all media friends covering the third session of the 14th CPPCC National Committee. I'm very pleased to meet you all I learned that close to 3,000 Chinese and international journalists have signed up to cover the session. Thank you for your interest in the session and the importance you attach to it. The press group of the session's secretariat will support your work with good services. The year 2024 marked the 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. It was also the 75th anniversary of the founding of the CPPCC, and a critical year for realizing the goals and tasks set forth in the 14th Five-Year Plan. Over the past year, we in the CPPCC have taken Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with the Chinese characteristics for the new era as our guide, pursued a deep understanding of the decisive significance of establishing Comrade Xi Jinping's core position on the party Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and establishing the guiding role of Xi Jinping's thought, worked to be more conscious of the need to maintain political integrity, think in big-picture terms, follow the leadership call, and keep in alignment with the central party leadership, state confidence in the path, theory, system, and culture of socialism with the Chinese characteristics, worked to uphold Comrade Xi Jinping's core position and uphold the Party Central Committee's authority and its centralized, unified leadership, and comprehensively implemented the guiding principles laid down at the 20th CPC National Committee and the second and third plenums of the 20th Party Central Committee. We worked to ensure the integration of party leadership, united front, and consultative democracy, adhered to the nature and role of the CPPCC, focused on the central tasks of the party and the country as we perform our duties, ensured that the CPPCC works to serve the people, and kept improving our performance and capabilities in a spirit of reform and innovation, thus delivering new results and securing new progress in various areas of work. The year 2025 will be a concluding year of the 14th Five-Year Plan. We in the CPPCC National Committee will carry forward our fine traditions, keep in mind our political responsibilities, give full play to the CPPCC's role as a specialized consultative body, serve the overall picture by focusing on the essential tasks, strengthen theoretical and political guidance, actively produce policy advice, and contribute our ideas and strength to building a great modern socialist country in all respects and rejuvenating our nation through Chinese modernization. To ensure the success of the upcoming session, the National Committee has made thorough preparations. The Standing Committee meeting, which concluded yesterday, deliberated and adopted the relevant files and programs, and we are now ready to proceed. The upcoming session will review the work of the National Committee in the past year and plan for its work this year. Entrusted by the session secretariat, I will now brief you about the agenda of the session. The third session of the 14th CPPCC National Committee will open tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. at the Great Hall of the People and close on the morning of March the 10th, with a duration of 6 days. The main agenda items include to hear and deliberate the work report of the Standing Committee of the CPPCC National Committee and the report on proposal-related work, to sit in on the third session of the 14th National People's Congress, to hear and discuss the government work report and other related reports, to deliberate and adopt a political resolution of the third session of the 14th CPPCC National Committee, a resolution on the work report of the Standing Committee, a resolution on the report on proposal-related work since the second session, and a report on proposal review at the third session. During the session, there will be an opening meeting, a closing meeting, and 2 plenary meetings. Sectoral group discussions will be held at resident hotels for CPPCC members, and sectoral consultative meetings will be held for some sectors. Foreign envoys in China will be invited to observe the opening and closing meetings. On top of today's press conference, there will be 3 CPPCC members' passage interview events in the duration of the session. Interview rooms are available in all resident hotels for CPPCC members. The press group of the session secretariat and the press liaison officers at the resident hotels will provide facilitation to Chinese and foreign media friends. The online press center at the official website of the CPPCC National Committee will release the relevant arrangements of the session, the main documents, and other information. Please stay tuned. We welcome Chinese and foreign reporters to cover the session by various means, including on-site, via the internet, through video link, and by telephone interviews. Now, I'd like to take questions related to the session and the work of the CPPCC. Thank you.
Now the floor is open to questions. Please identify your affiliation before asking. It is recommended that every journalist raise only one question. Please begin. Please raise your hands.
好，请中区第2排右起第4位这位高个的男记者提问。
谢谢主持人，发言人您好，中央广播电视总台记者提问。2024年是人民政协成立75周年，习近平总书记出席了庆祝大会，并发表了重要讲话。那想提问的是，在过去的1年间，全国政协如何围绕总书记的重要讲话精神和中共中央决策部署，开展了哪些具体的工作，取得了哪些重要的成果？谢谢您。
With China Media Group, the year 2024 marked the 75th anniversary of the CPPCC. General Secretary Xi Jinping attended the celebratory event and delivered an important speech. My question is, what has the CPPCC National Committee done over the past year to act on the guiding principles of that important speech and the decisions of the CPC Central Committee? What results have been achieved? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your question. The year 2024 marks the 75th anniversary of the CPPCC's founding. General Secretary Xi Jinping attended the meeting marking the anniversary and delivered an important speech, expounding on the CPPCC's salient Chinese features and remarkable political advantages, which pointed the way forward and provided the fundamental guidance for the CPPCC to advance its high-quality development in the new era. We in the National Committee studied the spirit of the important speech by General Secretary Xi Jinping and further unified our thought and strength. We gave better play to the CPPCC's role as a specialized consultative body and advanced the institutional development of consultative democracy in diverse fields and at multiple levels. Over the past year, we in the National Committee have taken Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with China's characteristics for the new era as our guide, focused on advancing the goals and tasks of Chinese modernization, strengthened theoretical and political guidance, actively produced policy advice, built consensus across society, and reached greater depth in performing our duties. First, we ensured the CPC's overall leadership over the CPPCC. We supervised the implementation of each and every important instruction of General Secretary Xi Jinping on work related to the CPPCC, advanced the reforms laid down at the third plenary session of the 20th CPC National Congress of the 20th CPC Central Committee on strengthening whole process people's democracy and the institutions of consultative democracy, and ensured CPC's leadership in all aspects and the whole process of the CPPCC's work. We took Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with China's characteristics for the new era as the overarching guideline for the CPPCC's work, regularly held reading sessions and study seminars for CPPCC members, and ensured that study comes before survey and survey precedes consultation, thus enhancing the relevance and effectiveness of our surveys and consultations, and keeping our work in the right political direction and properly prioritized. Second, we stayed laser-focused on the central tasks of the CPC and of the country, in performing our duties and making proposals surrounding the key and challenging issues in Chinese modernization, in further deepening reform comprehensively, in promoting high-quality development, and in maintaining social harmony and stability. We organized 42 thematic studies on major issues, held 85 various political consultation events, handled and replied to over 5,000 proposals, and submitted over 10,000 briefings. The special committees leveraged their respective strength and organized committee members to visit rural areas, factories, universities, and communities. They worked with central committees of democratic political parties on joint surveys. They worked with the local committees of CPPCC on joint consultations, and they translated the opinions and suggestions from various sectors and the grassroots level into policy options that support the decision-making and policy implementation by the CPC and the government, demonstrating the important role of the specialized consultative body in the system of national governance. Third, we worked to bring people's mind and efforts together to strengthen unity to the greatest possible extent. In the spirit of great unity and integration, we worked to strengthen unity among ethnic groups, religious groups, Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan compatriots, and overseas Chinese, and promoted harmonious relations between different political parties, ethnic groups, religious groups, social strata, and fellow Chinese at home and abroad. We conducted public diplomacy, people-to-people diplomacy, and think tank diplomacy in a coordinated way, promoted friendship, exchanging cooperation with the international community, and shared with the world good stories about China and about people's democracy in China. We continued ensuring that the CPPCC members serve the people as they perform their duties. Members of 34 sectors carried out sci-tech popularization events across the country, cultural events in local communities, employment promotion events in universities involving nearly 20,000 members to help address the tough issues concerning the people that call for prompt solutions. In short, we strove to be good communicators of the CPC's policies, good advocates of the people's interests, and good promoters of social harmony. Fourth, we pursued self-improvement in the spirit of reform and innovation. We further leveraged the foundational role of special committees, held 10 meetings to hear their opinions and suggestions, convened a CPPCC National Committees meeting on the work of special committees, and formulated the guidelines on further leveraging the foundational role of special committees. We gave better play to the primary role of CPPCC members, formulated and revised 7 documents, including on fully leveraging members' functions and roles, expanded the scope of participating members in surveys and consultations, and improved the mechanisms for day-to-day contact, services and administration, record-keeping on performance of duty, and feedback and communication for CPPCC members, so that they have the platform for, feel the warmth in, and produce real results from the performance of duties, and that new progress is made in building the CPPCC into a home of its members, a home of democracy, and a home of unity. Tomorrow, Chairman Wang Huning will present the work report of the Standing Committee of the CPPCC National Committee. I welcome you all to follow that event. Thank you.
Next question, please.
请东区第3排靠过道这位女记者提问。
谢谢主持人。新华社记者提问：发言人您好，我们知道2024年中国经济增长率达到5%，实现了全年主要预期目标。但是呢，也有说法说中国经济当前恢复的基础还不够稳固。您认为，您如何看待当前中国经济形势？另外，全国政协在推动中国经济持续回升向好方面开展了哪些工作？谢谢您。
With Xinhua News Agency, China's economy grew by 5% in 2024, meeting the target set for the whole year. But some are of the view that China's economy recovery is not solid. What is your view on the economy? What has the CPPCC National Committee done to promote sustained economic recovery? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your question. In 2024, the Chinese economy secured steady progress, making solid advances in high-quality development. China's GDP for the year exceeded 134 trillion yuan, with a growth rate of 5%, one of the fastest among the world's major economies. New industries and business forms keep emerging. Smart manufacturing and smart products are being upgraded on a monthly or even daily basis. Green productivity is booming. And we're leading the world in wind power, photovoltaic, and new energy vehicles. The last Spring Festival saw strong demand in the consumer market, with home appliances and audio-video equipment selling particularly well, growing at a 166.4% from last year. And income from tourism grew by 37.5%. The Chinese economy is sailing steadily forward along the route of high-quality development. Meanwhile, we are soberly aware that profound and complex changes are taking place in the domestic and external environments. And the Chinese economy faces some difficulties and challenges. Consumer demand remains insufficient, and the risks in some areas still awaits resolution. But more importantly, we must see that the Chinese economy enjoys a solid foundation, multiple advantages, strong resilience, and great potential. The underlying conditions and basic trend of its long-term growth remain unchanged. For instance, we have a significant advantage in our system. We have the advantage of a super large market, and the potential of new types of consumption is getting unleashed at a faster pace. We have the advantage of having a complete industrial system, and the scale of China's manufacturing sector has topped the world for 15 years in a row. The giant ship of the Chinese economy has always sailed forward by cleaving the waves. As long as we squarely face the challenges and firm up confidence, and follow through on the CPC Central Committee's major decisions and plans, we will take the high-quality development of the Chinese economy to new heights. The economy is always a priority in the work of the CPPCC National Committee. Over the past year, the National Committee offered advice on a series of important economic issues, contributed to the economic recovery and growth, and done a great deal of solid, effective work. We held meetings on the macroeconomic situation on a quarterly basis to analyze their characters and bottlenecks in each period of economic performance, and put forth well-targeted opinions and suggestions on improving macro regulation. We held deep-going surveys, studies, and political consultations on issues related to high-quality development, covering economic system reform, digital trade, marine economy, and financial system development, among others, to provide opinions and support to the relevant authorities in their formulating and executing policies. For democratic oversight, we conducted inspections on the ecological conservation and high-quality development of the Yellow River Basin, the orderly domestic transfer of industries, and the improvement of mechanisms for paired assistance. And we carried out thematic oversight activities focusing on a better business environment for private companies and a better protection of black soil, contributing to more effective implementation of the relevant decisions and plans. National Committee members also engaged with local authorities, enterprises, and universities to communicate policies, share ideas, and build consensus on such issues as regional, economic, and trade cooperation, and high-quality Belt and Road cooperation, which helped strengthen synergy in these domains. Following the Central Economic Conference, the experts and academics among our members spoke up on mainstream media to help the society get an accurate understanding of the CPC Central Committee's scientific assessment of the economic situation and its plans of work. The business leaders among our members have not only offered advice on high-quality development, but also done solid work to run their companies well and build up confidence among the general public. High-quality development is a key priority of the new era. The CPPCC National Committee will continue supporting high-quality development with a high-standard functioning of our duties and contribute CPPCC's strength to a new chapter of Chinese modernization. Thank you.
继续提问。
Next question, please.
好，请西区左起第2排第3位穿深色西装这位男记者提问。
谢谢主持人。人民日报记者提问：新质生产力在2024年全国两会上被首次写入政府工作报告，并被列入10大工作内容之一。想请问发言人，您认为过去1年中国在培育和发展新质生产力取得哪些成效？全国政协围绕推动新质生产力发展开展了哪些工作？谢谢。
With People's Daily, the concept of new quality productive forces was written into the government work report for the first time in 2024, and the development of it considered one of the 10 priorities. Mr. Spokesperson, what achievements has China made over the past year in fostering and delivering such forces? What has the National Committee done in this regard? Thank you.
谢谢您的提问。
Thank you for the question. To develop new quality productive forces is a major strategic decision by the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, based on a profound understanding of the trend of our times and purposed to further advance Chinese modernization. It is an inherent requirement and important leverage to promote high-quality development. In 2024, China integrated sci-tech innovation and industrial innovation more closely and sped up building a modern industrial system. New quality productive forces yielded remarkable results. The new pointed the direction for the economy, and quality ensured its sustained development. As you must have noted, a series of sci-tech breakthroughs have been achieved, and a number of cutting-edge products have stood in the spotlight. Traditional industries have become smarter and greener, and smart equipment has been quickly popularized. Among the 189 global lighthouses, 79 are Chinese, nearly half of which come from traditional industries like steel and food. Emerging industries are booming, and future industries are ready to take off. Humanoids took the stage and performed folk dance on the Spring Festival Gala. Drones flew in the night skies and presented cyber fireworks. Large open-source AI models triggered global discussions. The added value from major high-tech manufacturing increased by 8.9%, and installed industrial robots account for more than half of the global total. New quality productive forces are truly thriving. To boost new quality productive forces is a key priority in the consultations and proposals of the CPPCC National Committee. We conducted thorough studies on General Secretary Xi Jinping's important statements on new quality productive forces, organized CPPCC members and leading social science experts and academics to carry out theoretical studies and interpretations, and produced multiple study reports, increasing the effectiveness of our action with the deepening of our understanding. We proposed concrete steps to advance new quality productive forces. We closely watched the world's frontier and engaged with science institutes and enterprises for thematic surveys on the commercialization of research outcomes, development of regional innovation centers, and the R&D of innovative drugs. We held consultative seminars to discuss the data factor market and the AI application at great depth, analyzed the ways and institutional guarantees to promote new quality productive forces, and came up with targeted, forward-looking solutions and suggestions, which were given great attention and adopted by the competent authorities. The renowned, accomplished experts among the CPPCC members gave 8 science lectures, including on general AI and the frontier and industrialization of nanotechnology, to inform the general public of the developments in the sci-tech world and foster a culture of science for boosting new quality productive forces. New quality productive forces are a powerful engine for high-quality development. We in the CPPCC National Committee will continue leveraging our own strength to help unlock stronger impetus from new quality productive forces. Thank you.
继续提问。
Next question, please.
好，请中区第4排左起第2位记者提问。
感谢主持人，我是光明日报记者。今年中国迎来申遗成功后的首个春节，国潮涌动，年味儿、文化味儿十足。请问发言人，围绕弘扬中华优秀传统文化方面，全国政协过去1年做了哪些工作，有何成效？谢谢。
With daily. The Spring Festival this year was the first one celebrated after it was recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage. Products and activities that are distinctly Chinese were popular among the people, which reinforced the festive and culturally rich vibe during the festival. What has the National Committee done last year to promote traditional Chinese culture, and what progress has been made? Thank you.
谢谢你的
Thank you for your question. Indeed, we just enjoyed the first Spring Festival holiday. After it was made an intangible cultural heritage, people had an even greater time and spent more than before. And box office revenues and the number of moviegoers both set new records. The fusion of traditional culture with high-tech innovations led to a surge in popular hits. The visa-free transit policy boosted the global popularity of China travel, with the number of inbound tourists up by 150% year-on-year, a historic high. Experiencing Chinese New Year customs has become a stylish trend. People lived in homestays, wore hanfu or traditional Chinese clothing, visited temple fairs, and enjoyed dumplings, immersing themselves in the endless charm of Chinese culture. After UNESCO added the Spring Festival to its intangible cultural heritage list, China now boasts 44 UNESCO-listed intangible cultural heritage items, the highest number worldwide, showcasing the immense allure of China's fine traditional culture. And China's fine traditional culture embodies the most profound spiritual pursuits of the Chinese nation. It represents its unique spiritual identity and serves as invaluable nourishment for the continuous growth and development of the Chinese nation. The CPPCC finds its roots in China's fine traditional culture and has worked actively to promote its creative transformation and innovative development. In doing so, we contribute to building China into a cultural powerhouse by gathering ideas and building consensus. Last year, CPPCC members went to Shandong, Shanxi, Henan, and other places to carry out in-depth research in museums, cultural relics, ancient city districts, research institutes, and institutions of higher education. They engaged in discussions with frontline cultural and museum workers to gain detailed insights into the progress of major programs, such as the project to trace the origins of the Chinese civilization, and offered suggestions to breathe new life into China's traditional culture by adapting it to the new era. To develop cultural programs and the cultural sector, CPPCC members had in-depth consultations and interactions with leading officials of relevant authorities and reached consensus on promoting systematic protection of cultural heritage and improving the modern cultural industry system. CPPCC members also offered well-informed proposals that were highly regarded and adopted by the relevant authorities. To guide the whole society in establishing a correct view of the history of the Chinese nation, the CPPCC brought together experts to compile a book entitled 100 Facts on History and Culture of Community for the Chinese Nation. The book vividly explains the rich meaning of unity in diversity of the Chinese nation and has been recognized as a significant outcome in the study and interpretation of Chinese civilization in China's historical studies. The National Committee will continue dedicating itself to promoting China's fine traditional culture, constantly enhance the spiritual strength of the people, and cement the cultural foundation for building China into a stronger country and realizing national rejuvenation. Thank you.
Next question, please.
好，请中区右起第3排第2位，这位大胡子的记者，请你提问。
你好，我是毛路，我的媒体是巴西劳动者电视台 TVT Brazil. So reform and opening up have been important not only for the development of China but also for other countries. But in recent years, the economic globalization is facing some challenges, some risks. Interestingly, last year we learned that the third plenum of the 20th CPC Central Committee stated that reform and open up is an ongoing endeavor rather than a task to be completed, which is very interesting. With that, I would like to ask what are China's plans to deepening high standard opening up, and which are the strategies of China in the future to push for the realization of the economic globalization? Thank you very much, 谢谢你。
巴西劳动者电视台，改革开放对中国以及世界各国的发展都是一个重要的进程，但近年来经济全球化面临一些挑战和风险。去年，中国共产党20届3中全会决议指出，改革开放只有进行时，没有完成时。我认为这是一个很有趣的论述。请问，中国在深化高水平对外开放方面有何规划？未来将制定什么战略，继续推进经济全球化？谢谢。
谢谢你的提。
Thank you for your question. First, a thumb up for your fluent Chinese. And I think this is a crystallization of China's reform and open up endeavor. And economic globalization is an objective requirement of increased social productivity. It is an inevitable outcome of technological progress, an essential path for the advancement of humanity, and an irreversible trend of our times. China firmly stands on the right side of history, and its door will only open still wider. Over the past year, China continued to serve as the largest engine for global economic growth. China moved faster to develop new institutions for a higher standard open economy. China maintained its position as the world's largest trader in goods and second largest import market. China made new progress in high-quality Belt and Road cooperation. International expos such as the China International Import Expo provided an excellent platform for closer global economic cooperation. We worked hard to promote universally beneficial and inclusive economic globalization. We advocated the spirit of global solidarity and harmonious coexistence. We actively participated in global economic governance and demonstrated our responsibility for global development as a major country. We will continue to pursue high standard opening up, steadily expand institutional opening up. We will deepen the reform of the foreign trade system and the management systems for inward and outward investment. We will improve the layout for regional opening up and refine the mechanism for high-quality Belt and Road cooperation. we will carry out broader, wider, and deeper opening up. We will continue to promote the implementation of the Global Development Initiative, or GDI, and make economic globalization more open, inclusive, universally beneficial, and balanced. The National Committee has long been dedicated to serving the country's opening up endeavors, and from this, we gained a deeper understanding of China's higher level opening up. Over the past year, the National Committee has taken expanding institutional opening up, improving the layout for regional opening up, and advancing high-quality Belt and Road cooperation as important topics in our extensive consultations and deliberations. We held a special consultative meeting on pursuing high-standard opening up, a bi-weekly consultative forum on implementing the strategy to upgrade pilot free trade zones. We conducted inspection tours on the development of core areas under the Belt and Road Initiative and provided the CPPCC's insights into advancing high-level opening up. And we carried out special oversight programs over the implementation of the major opening up measures laid out in the 14th Five-Year Plan. And we gained in-depth understanding of the situation on the ground and put forward targeted suggestions. CPPCC members put forward many valuable proposals on creating a world-class business environment in free trade zones, improving risk prevention and control systems, leveraging the roles of Hong Kong and Macau in building a higher-level open economy, and promoting innovation in service trade and pilot cross-border data flows. For example, there are suggestions such as systematically easing restrictions on the access of foreign investment in medical institutions and expanding pilot programs for the opening up of value-added telecommunication services have been adopted by relevant authorities and translated into concrete policies and measures. We will, as always, firmly support and participate in economic globalization. We will unswervingly open up wider and work with the rest of the world to share opportunities, foster prosperity, and contribute to building an open world economy. Thank you.
现在继续提问，
Next question, please.
请东区第二排这位穿红色衣服的女记者提问。
谢谢主持人。发言人您好，我是人民政协报全媒体记者。中共20届三中全会作出了关于进一步全面深化改革、推进中国式现代化的决定，请您介绍一下全国政协是如何学习贯彻三中全会精神的？下一步又有哪些具体的安排举措？谢谢。
With the CPPCC paper, the third plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee adopted the resolution on further deepening reform comprehensively to advance Chinese modernization. My question is, what steps has the CPPCC National Committee taken to study and implement the guiding principles of the plenary session? What further steps will be taken going forward? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. The resolution adopted at the third plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee is both a continuation of the comprehensive reform efforts since the third plenary session of the 18th CPC Central Committee in 2013, and a new chapter in advancing Chinese modernization on a new journey. It outlines a panoramic view of further deepening reforms comprehensively in the new era. The National Committee has made studying and implementing the guiding principles from the third plenary session a major political task and commits to strengthen confidence in reform and build consensus on reform through in-depth learning and thorough understanding, ensuring that our efforts are focused on learning deeply, planning strategically, and acting pragmatically. The National Committee, based on the broader context of further deepening reform comprehensively, further leverages our role as a specialized consultative body. Before the third plenary session, we conducted forward-looking research and consultative deliberations on major issues related to further deepening reform comprehensively to advance Chinese modernization, providing our due support to the CPC Central Committee in formulating the resolution. After the plenary session, the National Committee focused on the over 300 reform measures across 14 key areas outlined in the resolution and advanced our research, surveys, inspections, and consultative deliberations. Members of the Chairperson's Council led cross-committee and cross-sector efforts to carry out special research on deep-seated issues. We conducted thorough analysis and proposed targeted and practicable suggestions. Through special standing committee meetings, special consultative meetings, and bi-weekly consultative forums, the National Committee made proposals on reform tasks such as bolstering cultural confidence, advancing high-level opening up, securing critical energy and mineral resources, and ensuring high-quality development of the marine economy. Through proposals, news bulletins, comprehensive reports, and other submissions, we effectively contributed to further deepening reform comprehensively to advance Chinese modernization. The Chinese people often say success is 10% planning and 90% executing. The National Committee has rigorously implemented reform tasks related to our own work, focusing on improving institutional systems and enhancing the mechanism of consultative democracy. We revised foundational work regulations, such as those on reflecting social conditions and public sentiment. We achieved dual improvement in the quantity and quality of submitted communications. We refined the mechanism for in-depth consultative interactions, stepped up consultations on forward-looking strategic and overarching issues to ensure full and thorough deliberations. We improved the mechanisms for conference speech-making by ensuring the diversity and the representation of speakers, while enhancing the relevance and professionalism of their contributions. We came up with new ways of consultation and deliberation by making online deliberation and remote consultation a regular practice. This allows voices from faraway farmlands, factories, and docks to reach the National Committee's consultative meetings, showing the new vitality of the CPPCC in the digital era. Going forward, we will continue to offer suggestions and comments on further deepening reform comprehensively to advance Chinese modernization. We will fully execute the reform plans laid out in the resolution for improving the mechanisms for consultative democracy, and we will continue to refine all institutions and mechanisms in practice. Thank you.
Next question, please.
好，请西区左起第3排第2位，那位女记者，请你提问。
谢谢主持人。发言人您好，中新社记者提问：家事国事天下事，让人民过上幸福生活是头等大事。我们注意到，全国政协连续多年为养老、育幼等民生议题建言献策。请问发言人，全国政协在民生保障方面都发挥了哪些作用？谢谢。
In national governance, it is often said that of all the jobs in front of us, the most important one is to ensure a happy life for the people. For many years, the CPPCC National Committee has been offering recommendations on issues concerning the general public, including on elderly and child care. What role has the CPPCC National Committee played to help promote people's welfare? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your question. In advancing Chinese modernization, China prioritizes people's well-being. Issues including the well-being of the elderly and children are not only the concerns of hundreds of millions of families in China, but also matters of great significance for high-quality development. Last year, promoting high-quality population development was a key focus of our consultative efforts. CPPCC members conducted extensive and in-depth research in multiple provinces across the country. They visited neighborhoods, communities, and elderly care and childcare facilities, and held symposiums to observe people's living conditions, listen to their voices, and gather first-hand information. Based on this, over 100 CPPCC members engaged in special consultations on establishing and improving a high-quality population service system covering the entire life cycle. And they proposed practicable opinions and suggestions on increasing market supply of long-term care services, making advanced strategic planning for the silver economy, improving policy systems, and collaboratively addressing elderly care and childcare challenges. Their proposals received positive response from relevant authorities. For issues that require continuous attention, they conducted follow-up research, wrote thematic reports, and their suggestions were adopted by relevant authorities. How to ensure access to elderly care, childcare, medical services, and social assistance is of concern to the people, and also CPPCC members. In primary and secondary schools, they care for the mental health of adolescents and promote the effective implementation of the double reduction policy, namely easing the burden of excessive homework and off-campus tutoring. In urban elderly care facilities, they conduct on-site research and survey and encourage age-friendly renovations and better meal assistance systems for the elderly. A bowl of hot soup is a small yet powerful symbol of their commitment to a more elderly-friendly society. In border area health centers, they try to work out how to make medical services more directly accessible to local communities. They also leverage their expertise to help local medical staff with imaging analysis and case analysis. At the bi-weekly Consultative Forum on improving the social security and care service systems for persons with disability, CPPCC members, some suffer disabilities themselves, offered empathetic suggestions on enhancing rehabilitation, education, care, and accessibility services for persons with disabilities, contributing to improving their quality of life. The National Committee will continue to work for the people. We will keep in mind the needs of every household. We will help address their urgent and difficult concerns. By genuinely serving the people, we aim to make them truly feel that the CPPCC is close to them and that its members are always there for them. Thank you.
现在继续提问。
Next question, please.
好，请中区第2排，左起第3位这位男记者提问。
你好，这是澳门广播电视有限公司的。你好。请问一下，就是这个全国政策委员在推动港澳融入国家发展大局，还有推进这个粤港澳大湾区建设方面发挥了哪些作用呢？然后就是港澳委员在这方面有一些什么样的贡献呢？谢谢。
With TDM from Macau, what has the CPPCC National Committee done to help Hong Kong and Macau better integrate into the overall development of the country and advance the development of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area? How has members from Hong Kong and Macau contributed their share? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. In 2024, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of Macau's return to the motherland. New progress was made in the development of the Guangdong-Macau in-depth cooperation zone in Hengqin. Hong Kong better integrated into the country's overall development. The high-quality development of the Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macau Greater Bay Area, or GBA, is just another real-world practice of one country, two systems. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge set new records for both passenger and vehicle traffic. The Zhongshan Link and the Huangmaohai cross-sea passage were completed and open to traffic, further raising the hard connectivity of the GBA city cluster. Netizens from Hong Kong and Macau shared their amazement at being able to tour 3 cities in one day during a GBA road trip. Also raised was the soft connectivity, with a series of facilitating measures for people and businesses being implemented, making the flow of personnel, goods, capital, and data easier and more efficient. The point-to-point cross-boundary ambulance service is now available in the GBA. During the Spring Festival, over 2.6 million trips were made by Hong Kong and Macau residents to the mainland. And last year, mainland tourists made 34 million trips to Hong Kong and nearly 24.5 million trips to Macau, a year-on-year increase of 27% and 29% respectively. So this kind of mutual exchange of visits has become a popular trend. With roads connected, cities integrated, and hearts linked, the GBA is showcasing new vitality and dynamism in the process of Chinese modernization. More than 230 CPPCC members from Hong Kong and Macau have played an active role in the country's economic and social development, as well as the long-term prosperity and stability of Hong Kong and Macau. They visited enterprises, associations, and universities and colleges in Hong Kong and Macau, went on field trips to mainland provinces and cities, and engaged in in-depth discussions on topics such as leveraging the role of Hong Kong and Macau in building a higher standard open economy. With major national strategies in mind, they deliberated and offered suggestions on finance, trade, technological innovation, and the business environment, helping Hong Kong and Macau capitalize on their strengths as connectors between the mainland and global markets, channels for the flow of resources, demonstration zones for rules, and bridges for economic and trade exchanges, so as to make sustained contributions to the country's high-quality development. The National Committee has worked hard to promote the integration of Hong Kong and Macau into the country's overall development and ensure the steady and long-term success of one country, two systems. In the past year, based on the progress report of the outline development plan of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area, and related recommendations, the National Committee continued its democratic oversight for the 4th consecutive year. Based on the call for Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau to strengthen cooperation and jointly participate in the Belt and Road Initiative, the National Committee made inspection tours and conducted oversight and research on key proposals, so as to help the 3 places advance the harmonization of rules and mechanisms, accelerate the development of a modern industrial system, and build a globally competitive business environment. Based on the objective of promoting collaborative innovation in the GBA to build a high-level International STI Center, the National Committee conducted in-depth research and deliberations and offered suggestions to help boost STI cooperation, the flow of innovation resources, and the introduction of international talent among the 3 places. The National Committee will continue to support the development of the GBA and help Hong Kong and Macau realize better development by embracing greater opportunities created by the country's overall development. Thank you.
Next question, please.
请你第一排中区这位米色西装的记者提问。
谢谢主持人。你好，发言人，农民日报全媒体记者提问。去年呀，我们的3农工作又取得了新的进步。那请问，全国政协在围绕助力做好3农工作方面，开展了哪些议政协商的活动？谢谢。
With Farmers Daily, since last year, new progress has been achieved in the development of agriculture, rural areas, and farmers. Could you share with us what sessions of consultation and deliberation have been convened by the CPPCC National Committee last year in this respect? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Agriculture is a foundation of principal importance to a country. For building a modern socialist country comprehensively and realizing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, the most important and the heaviest task fall into the rural areas. Yet, the widest and most profound foundation also lies in rural areas. Last year, big achievements have been made in works relating agriculture, rural areas, and farmers. Food production exceeded 0.7 trillion tons for the first time. Poverty alleviation achievements continued to be consolidated and expanded. 33 million new jobs were created for labor force lifted out of poverty. Agriculture and rural society modernization continues to advance. Industries boosting rural residents' income are thriving. The rural per capita disposable income grew 6.3%, and that number for counties lifted out of poverty stood at 6.5%. Rural living and business facilitation programs and works to build beautiful countrysides were soundly advancing, with living environment and public services improved. Rural revitalization work is enjoying new progress. The CPPCC National Committee always closely follows the works in agriculture, rural areas, and rural people. It works under major themes like building up China's strengths in agriculture, rural revitalization, and common prosperity, pulls wisdom from academicians, experts, and grassroots members. It focuses on food production, rural infrastructure construction, public service, living environment improvement, and basic rural management system, conducted in-depth researches and consultation, thus fulfilling its duties. Through on-site researches for rural development challenges, CPPCC members raised targeted suggestions. They traveled 11 provinces and 33 cities, raised over 600 proposals, and collected many public opinions. The National Committee also held bi-weekly seminars around agriculture development, rural areas building, and raising farmers' income. There are topics like mobilizing the production enthusiasm of farmers and major grain-producing regions, and integrating urban-rural infrastructure and public service layout. The seminars invited grassroots CPPCC members and leading grain producers to speak, listening to their voices, thus promoting related policy implementation and delivering solid outcomes. Thank you. Next question, please.
请东区第一排靠过道这位女记者。
谢谢，发言人您好，我是香港大公文汇传媒集团大公报、香港文汇报和全媒体的记者。当前科技创新是国际社会战略博弈的焦点，创新的竞争背后是人才竞争。请问发言人，在这一背景下，全国政协在推进教育、科技人才一体化发展方面做了哪些工作，取得了哪些成效？谢谢。
With Hong Kong TKWW Media Group, science and technology is an area that sees strategic contest between countries. The result of innovation competition depends in large part on the performance of talent. Against such a backdrop, what has the CPPCC National Committee done to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talent? What results have been achieved? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Science and technology innovation relies on talent and education. China is now home to the largest education system in the world. Science and technology innovation well supported the country's high-quality development, with China ranking 11th in the World Innovation Index. The country now enters a new phase to build up its education, science, and technology and talent strengths. We, as the National Committee, focus on integrated progress of education, sci-tech innovation, and talent cultivation. Had consultation and made suggestions around improving sci-tech talent structure, building up strategic talent base, deepening higher education reform, and strengthening talent cultivation ability. for improving innovation talent selection and cultivation mechanism, and aligning SciTech with industry development. The National Committee visited universities, enterprises, human resources agencies, and research institutes for researches and consultation, and pooled wisdom. It also raised suggestions targeting modern vocational education system. The National Committee also worked on education equality with a demonstration program covering hundreds of schools. It encourages schools to pair up with primary and middle schools at the border region, share digital resources, help improving teaching equipments and teaching quality, and promote high-quality education in ethnic minority regions and remote areas. Among all the CPPCC members, more than 130 of them are academicians, and many other members are leading figures in education, research, and business startups. They all actively pushed for education reform, talent cultivation, and SciTech innovation in their own fields. For example, professors and university workers innovate in teaching methods, refine curriculums. Leading researchers also attach importance to nurturing different levels of talents while pursuing technological breakthroughs. Entrepreneurs invest more in research and talents cultivation, forming synergy among industries and universities. CPPCC members stepped up efforts in SciTech popularization, especially among the younger generation, thus forming an atmosphere of valuing education and science and respecting talents. Thank you.
现在继续提问。
Next question, please.
好，请西区靠过道第二排第一位穿蓝色西装的记者提问。
Thank you for the opportunity. I am from Ethiopia and I work for Pana Broadcasting Corporation. Last year I attended the event to visit CPPCC that renewed my understanding to CPPCC. Mr. Spokesperson, can you share with us more about the international communication event CPPCC held? Thank you.
埃塞俄比亚方纳广播公司记者提问：去年我参加了进政协活动，让我进一步加深对人民政协的认识。请问，全国政协还开展了哪些对外交往活动？谢谢。
谢谢你的提。
Thank you for your question. Last year, the CPPCC National Committee had various international communication events. Visit to the CPPCC is a signature event for inviting international friends to visit and have exchanges. I'm glad that you find it rewarding and you are always welcome to return. As the Chinese saying goes, when the Great Way is practiced, the world belongs to all. General Secretary Xi Jinping put forth the important vision of building a community with a shared future for mankind. It is China's answer to the question of the time of what kind of world to build and how to build it. This injected great impetus to the course of world peace and development, and it is gaining more international support and appeal. The CPPCC National Committee deeply practices Xi Jinping thought on diplomacy, actively conducted people-to-people, think tank, and public diplomacy. Last year, it held 7 visits to the CPPCC, inviting friends from more than 100 countries, including diplomats, sinology scholars, business figures from international business council and cross-border companies, and young representatives from the Global South, etc. They had wide-range exchanges of views on Chinese modernization, Chinese governance, high-standard opening up, high-quality BRI cooperation, and international trade and economic cooperation, as well as international and regional issues. They tapped deep into the 75 years of CPPCC and the development of China's democracy, developed deep understanding towards the unique strengths of China's whole process people's democracy. Some participants expressed their view that democracy should take roots in a country's traditional culture, history, and development paths. China's experience in consultative democracy is worth learning. Some also said, China always delivers on its words. They have faith in China's market. Investing in China is investing in the future. We also held the China Economic and Social Forum 2024 roundtable discussion of China-African ECOSOC and China-Europe roundtable discussion. These activities attracted more than 100 representatives from more than 40 countries. They had in-depth discussions on topics like promoting an equal and orderly multipolar world and universally beneficial and inclusive economic globalization, and the global modernization of peaceful development, mutually beneficial cooperation, and brings prosperity to all. CPPCC members of related sectors visited Asian, African, and Latin American countries, as well as Europe and the US, and engaged with scholars, business figures, friendly individuals, and overseas Chinese on topics like overseas investment cooperation, green and low-carbon agriculture, international medical industry cooperation, and China's relation with the world, etc. Various events have given us the opportunities to get to know many international friends and boost mutual understanding, thus combining strengths of the world to face challenges and create the future together and join hands in building a community with a shared future for mankind. In the interest of time, this will be the last question. Please raise your hand.
中区第4排右起，第3位站起来了，请你提问。
谢谢主持人。发言人您好，中国日报记者提问。过去1年，绿色低碳发展纵深推进，无论是在城市还是乡村，我们都能感受到环境的改善。请问发言人，全国政协围绕美丽中国建设开展了哪些工作，取得了哪些进展？谢谢。
With China Daily, over the past year, green and low-carbon development has been further deepened. Improvements in the environment have been felt by residents both in urban and rural areas. My question is, what has the CPPCC National Committee done to help build a beautiful China? What achievements have been made? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. In recent years, everyone can feel that the sky is more blue, the water is cleaner, the air is clearer, the environment is getting better. Last year, days of good air quality accounted for 87.2%. Surface water with good quality around the country reached 90.4%. Forest coverage exceeded 25%, with planted forest area heading the world, making China the first in afforestation. The National Committee highly values environmental protection. The 14th National Committee set a new sector of environment and resources, gathered members, scholars, and entrepreneurs from fields including ecology, environment, and resources. The members keep in mind the instructions of General Secretary Xi Jinping when he visited members from the RCCK, the science sector, the environment and resources sector during the 2 sessions in 2024. They carried out in-depth consultation and democratic oversight around the overarching, forward-looking matters that are of strategic importance to building a beautiful China, and the things people cares about, and achieved good results. Focusing on the fundamental solution of green and low-carbon high-quality development, the National Committee promoted green ways of production and life, deepened industry's consensus on green transition, and helped with that trend. It raised suggestions on regulating industry growth after tracking and studying the new energy industry and renewable resources recycling. The National Committee also focused on people's living environment by targeting environmental problems around their homes and lands, for example, focusing on rural area wastewater treatment. For better air quality and the blue sky, the National Committee had on-site visits and gave targeted suggestions. It also carried out programs for improving the air quality of major places. It also carried out long-term and in-depth research and made suggestions on major ecology projects on desertification prevention like Sanbei Shelter Belt Forest, and programs like ecological protection along the Yangtze and Yellow River Basin, biodiversity protection in Sanjiangyuan, and grassland ecological restoration. Through various ways, like major issue briefings, analysis meetings on demographic and environmental development situation, book clubs, and seminars, the National Committee widely promoted major policies on ecological protection, pooled public consensus, and gathered efforts to draw an ecological protection blueprint covering urban and rural areas, and mountain and sea. In pushing for the harmony between man and nature and the course of building and sharing a beautiful China, the CPPCC National Committee will continue to contribute its wisdom and strengths. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Spokesperson, and gratitude to all the media friends. Let's call it a day. Goodbye.
好，谢谢。好，谢谢。同样的，感谢大家。
您觉得今年跟去年有什么变化吗？自己的